Oh, wait. Demonic machines! Demonic machines! Live! There we go.
Excellent. Is my mic any better today than last time?
Yeah, you sound very clear.
All right. I actually had time to try to set everything up. I got two lights now. I got a ring light right in front of me, and then my
Oh,
webcam has a light.
that reminds me to turn on my light. There we go. Oh, man, that is not a good look.
That's better.
No. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Nice.
So it is episode 10. We have somehow done this for 10 weeks straight.
Nice.
Oh, wait, I forgot to change. I meant to change the background on the check this out. So it's kind of like a late night show now. See,
Yeah.
I've got the San Diego skyline behind me, and you've got like all your musical instruments, and then we've got like red curtains.
Yeah.
Good,
We got
good,
it.
good stuff. So we don't have a guest for the second week in a row. This
It
has to do
happens.
with it has to do with poor planning, mostly on my part. Well, entirely on my part. If anyone wants to be a producer for this show, we can't pay you, but we can split Patreon money with you. Right now, I think you're getting like $6 a month,
Big
maybe.
spenders. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/demonic machines. We only have one tier, and it's just to support us. It's $10, which is basically a shot of espresso. Haha.
Accurate. Topical.
Yeah. But,
I'm
but
just writing notes, so don't mind me. All right. There we go.
oh, you're good. What do we got going on today? What's
Well,
going on in the gear world?
I know that there's some gear in particular that I'm interested to talk about. But as far as isn't isn't Josh doing a new? I feel like Josh is doing a new collab with people like every other week or something. I
Is
know
he?
I know that Josh has an upcoming show. I think with Andy Timmons, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. And I could have swore they JHS just announced a new pedal, but I know that the Lizard Queen was the huge one. I could be mistaken. I think it might have been the Vulture thing, the battery Vulture,
Oh,
but that's
yeah.
been out, right?
That's like a I don't know. Well, I don't know how he did it exactly.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's just LM317 uh uh and which is I mean it's creative and stuff. I actually incorporate the LM317 in the upcoming Fishbones distortion. So the choke knob, when you see one, it takes the voltage at 0. The voltage is 15 volts, and you can take the voltage all the way down to 2.5 volts.
It's like a Starve thing, right?
Yeah, it's like a starve thing.
I thought the same thing when I saw Josh's Vulture, and I'm like, I'm gonna be nice, because
Hmm.
Josh comes out with some cool stuff, and I've seen a lot of stuff before. And then when Josh does his spin on it, it's always interesting to see how it turns out. So fair enough. It's useful,
Hmm.
clearly. Um,
Yeah, I mean, there definitely people like that battery. I mean, I have a MXR ISO brick on one of my pedal boards, and that's got the voltage sag. Actually, all of my power supplies have voltage sag options.
yeah, I got
So
one
it,
that's got one as well, but only for one of the channels,
yeah,
like the power one.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not really something you want to do with like anything digital, um,
So no
or
plugs.
anything. Yeah, like you really just gain pedals, and it gives stuff like a broken kind of sound, like like a really gated sort of, I don't know. You'd see if you but Alchemy Audio already makes a similar product
Yeah.
called the Dying Dying Bat.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, that's been out. Hasn't that been out for a while now?
Yeah, I mean
Hmm.
the Alchemy one's been out for years.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I saw that. I don't know what I was thinking. I'd have to double check, but I don't know. I've been wrong before. It's been a long day.
Oh, it's all good.
Oh,
I am I'm just, living,
yeah.
but
I got some questions for you. Let's spice things up.
okay.
Okay, so for anyone who is interested, normally we have a topic or a theme for the day. Since we don't have a guest, I suggested that we talk about pedals, but not just pedals, Lucky's pedals, and some of the pedals that are offered at demonicmachines.com. What I've been doing this whole time,
Ah!
I know, what I've been doing this whole time is I've been writing down different pedals that I was going to ask you questions about for the design and such. But the first question that I wanted to ask is, how do you come up with your designs? Like as far as the name, the circuit, and stuff like that. Is it just a mixture of inspiration and innovation, or is it something that just kind of drops into your lap one day and you're like, that's it, that's what I'm making?
Um, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. Um, I I think Josh Scott has said this, Jamie Stillman has said this, like parts are meant to be used in like a certain way. And they come with a data sheet usually that tells you exactly how those parts are meant to be used.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what you will end up what I end up doing when I design pedals is I take those parts and I build those basic circuits, and then I use those as building blocks and kind of put them together in different ways. um it goes in waves. Like I'll discover like a new technique or something like that, and uh yeah, it's like I I was on overdrive for a while. Now I'm on analog modulation. Well, hybrid analog digital modulation.
You gotta
um
bring the digital in every once in a while, have a little bit of fun, you know.
well, the digital stuff is, if you use the digital stuff properly, like, well, I don't even want to say that like properly, or but like I mean digital, like a digital LFO can do things that like an analog LFO can't do.
Yeah.
Like different shapes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I am I've been using chips from a guy called Electric Druid lately.
Never heard of
Um,
that.
yeah, and he's got a lot of uh, well, so I've been using his Tap LFO and Stomp LFO chips, and I figured out how to incorporate one of them into a Univibe, which that's cool because a Univibe uses an incandescent light bulb, like 12-volt light bulb, and then
Interesting.
yeah, it uses an 18-volt power. And so I had to figure out how to get this 0 to 5 volt max pulse for coming from this digital source up to where it would make a difference in the voltage on this light bulb so that the light bulb would flash. And I figured that out with a little bit of just jamming a couple of circuits together. Um, so yeah, I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know.
I think it sounds like a good time either way. Um, who doesn't want to jam a couple circuits together every once in a while?
Uh-huh.
That's actually it segued perfectly into what I was gonna ask. So you recently had the poll. Obviously, you said the Univibe was what won, correct?
Uh-huh.
And what the runner-up was that the parametric EQ?
Yeah.
Since it was such a close call, depending on how well the Univibe sells, would you be interested in doing the parametric EQ?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do the parametric EQ eventually. I think I just needed. I haven't had that moment, that eureka moment with an EQ yet, where I'm like, oh my god, no one's done this before.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm kind of waiting for that moment. I've got a plan B, but I'm sort of waiting for the moment where I'm like, oh wow, I can implement this in an EQ and it would make it like way cooler. Um, but yeah, like right now I figured out the thing with the Univibe, the digital LFO on a Univibe, an analog Univibe, and it was I was pretty proud of myself for doing that, honestly.
I
And
mean, I'm pretty proud of you for putting in the time for research and development.
yeah, yeah, well,
Kind of part of
um,
the thing of having a company where you make pedals, right?
yeah, yeah, something like that. When people call it a company, I'm just like I always put air quotes around. I always imply air quotes around it when I
And
say company.
organization, I think, might be a little bit
Organiz-
better.
I mean, it's not even that because it's just me 90% of the time. Like you
Um,
help me on the show, and then I've got this guy Scott who helps me build when I get overloaded, and that's
yeah.
about it.
So Lucky and affiliates.
Lucky and affiliates, yeah. Oh wait, and then I got a couple of salespeople
Yeah,
around
fair
the
enough.
country. But we got a question from the Riff Mountain. So, what is my favorite pedal that I've made? Right now, it's the Divine version 2, the
Hmm.
Divine Chorus Vibrato.
That's on the list too, so we might as well talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, so what do you want to know about it?
Well, I mean, obviously, people know. You said it was based on the CE2, correct? Like loosely based, or uses the same type of chips.
Yeah, I use I use a Bucket Brigade chipset, like the CE2 does.
Yeah.
I use discrete transistors to drive the signal and stuff like that, in part of the circuit. And then there's the digital part, which the CE2 is a purely analog circuit. So I incorporated a digital LFO, digital LFO into the Boss CE2. So it gives you 8 different waveforms. It's also got a vibrato mode. It's got a drag knob, which sort of bends the shape
Yeah.
of the waveform, and and then it's got the standard rate depth mix thing. But yeah, based on a Boss C2, I had originally planned on basing it on a small clone, but I
Yeah.
couldn't get a small clone to work. Like
Mm.
I tried to build prototypes and I just couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes, Sam, you will have to pick one of those up, and if you didn't yet, you need to pick up a corn buffer and a Hulk booster. Sorry.
corn buffer. Well, it's on the
Corn,
way.
corn buffer's on the way. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I'm just
yeah.
excited because I really like when there's a vibrato mode with a chorus pedal.
Uh
Um,
huh.
so I need to get myself a Divine Chorus too. But since we're on that pedal, is it possible? I know that Keeley did, what is it, the Bubbletron or the Bubble Machine or something, where it's like a chorus and a vibrato, and I think there was like a flanger or something in there too. I was gonna say, does that sound like it's too much all in one? Because do you have to build any parallel stuff, or is it just different processing?
It's probably just a FV1 program.
Okay.
So the FV1 is a chip that came out like 15 years ago. And a lot of the digital pedals that a lot of the digital boutique pedals that you get are driven by an FV1 or are based around a FV1. And like the Earthquaker Devices Rainbow Machine
Yeah.
uses one of those. I could see the Keeley using one of those. There are more sophisticated digital signal processors out
Yeah.
there too. There's one I keep meaning to look into. I just keep not having money for a development board and to buy a few of them so I can try them out.
Yeah.
But the FV1, I've got some FV1s sitting around. I'm honestly, because I'm on such an analog kick, I haven't been looking at the FV1s really.
Yeah.
They're just kind of there. I have them, and like when the inspiration hits me, I'll probably use them for a reverb.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. I made one reverb with them, and I don't know how well it turned out. I sent it to Sammy Douay of Goat Whore.
Yeah.
And I never really heard back from him about it.
Maybe he's just been too busy using it.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's been busy, but like it honestly, like I didn't feel good about it when I sent it to him. I was just like, well, this is the best I can do programming a reverb right now.
Yeah.
I hope he likes it, you know. And
Sure.
he's I expect, I mean, the thing is the way I do this business is I mean, I'm basically, my customers are like experimenting with me, like I can't afford to have like focus groups and stuff on like products. And so it's like people that I like form relationships with,
Absolutely.
I send them, I'm just like, hey, do you want this kind of pedal? I'll send you a pedal. And and then I hear back from them, like, oh, this is cool, but what if it, XXX? And I was like, yeah, everything's better XXX. I don't know.
Oh, I wish that I came up with that one. I gotta write that down. I'm sorry. I'm
It's all good.
easily amused. Like I said, it's been a long day. Um, fuck. Where were we? I just threw us completely off course with my goofy Joker laugh.
We were talking about uh digital pedals and the FV1, the bubble machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and we
So
discussed the Divine Chorus. I was gonna say you already listed all the controls on it, correct?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Now you mentioned Fishbone's distortion.
yeah.
Is that something you want to talk about, or you want to keep that under wraps for now?
No, I can go ahead and talk about it.
Because I'm interested to hear myself, because this is the first that I've noticed it.
Yeah. So it's really, it's the evolution of the Alaborith, and the reason I'm changing Alaborith to Fishbones is because someone whose knowledge of like marketing I trust
Yes.
was saying like if you have a product and no one can remember the name of it, you're not going to be able to sell that product.
Understood.
And I was like, oh. So the Alaborith is my take on a Proco Rat.
Yeah.
I do a couple of different things to it. I give you some clipping options. I give it an EQ as opposed to just the filter knob.
Yeah.
And I do something different with the buffer. But with the Fishbones, so the Alaborith is 4 knobs and a toggle switch. The Fishbones is 6 knobs and a toggle switch. So it has all the features of the Alaborith, plus a voltage boost / starve knob.
Very nice.
So you can set the voltage anywhere from on a 9-volt supply. Always use a 9-volt supply or you'll blow it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too many examples of that in the past with other people.
Oh yeah, I've done it.
Doesn't it void warranties faster than anything else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I'm flexible, honestly. If someone doesn't damage it too bad, and it's fixable, I'll fix it.
Understood.
If
But they
someone
gotta
can,
pay shipping, right? Like, hey, you pay to
yeah,
send it to me, and fair enough.
yeah.
I agree
mean,
with that.
yeah. Like, I try not to be too like. I don't let people, say some bullshit and try to get free stuff off of me. But
Absolutely.
I am accommodating with my business, if you want to call it that. I know I don't know. There's another pedal builder who says that their business model is not a business. And I'm just like, I mean, okay.
I can understand the thought behind that because you don't want it to come off too harsh and like, hey, this is just about money. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I mean, yes, it is about money because you can't afford to live just making amazing shit and giving it away for free.
Yeah.
People need
I
to understand that at the base level because this is like for a lot of people, this is the only source of income.
mm-hmm.
So I agree.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the things that I recognize, and I think that a lot of people on the left have trouble with is that whether we like it or not, until some sort of like revolution happens, we're playing capitalism. And
Crony capitalism at that.
you just have to survive. Like, it's only about survival. It's not about like I want to be the monopoly man. I couldn't think of a real billionaire for some reason.
What, Elon Musk
Um,
or Jeff
yeah,
Bezos or
sure,
whoever else?
sure. I was trying to not give them real estate in my
Okay,
mind.
fair enough. I didn't catch on to that. But yes, insert insanely overly wealthy person here who doesn't really give a shit about anybody but themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah, and and it's like, I mean, I do it for food paper, but I also do it for like comforts. I mean, because like, what's the point of being alive if you're just like miserable?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I like will buy myself a soda at the gas station or something like that.
The little stuff.
Yeah, just most of my money goes into my business that's not really a business. I think I can say confidently is not really a business.
Not in the traditional sense anyhow.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I'm trying, honestly. I want to sell out. I want to sell out so bad and then run for president.
Sell out with me. Oh yeah, sell out with me tonight. The record companies. Sorry, I don't want to get VOD claimed, so we're gonna stop that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, what?
Yeah, Twitch will snag it if they hear too much copyrighted material. Their AI is crazy.
That happened to me on Facebook yesterday or the day before. Yeah, I was singing. What was I singing? Oh, it was something that I had the man who sold the world stuck in my head. And I was doing a live where I was building pedals and I was just singing the man who sold the world to myself.
Good one too.
Yeah, and Facebook took it down because of copyright stuff. And I was like, no, I'm singing the one by whoever doesn't have a copyright claim.
Yeah, right. Right. Good luck with that. There's copyright claim. Oh, holy. Okay, sorry. I'm fiddling around with this lighting, and it's kind of.
Oh yeah, my ring light also has like.
I'll leave it on this for a little bit, see if it's aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, I had to borrow. I had a good one, and then I don't know what happened. I took it to the video shoot with Don for the Obsidian Necktie project, and then it just disappeared. So I think it got lost in the snow, and it's probably in the trash by now. So
That sucks.
yeah, so I had to steal my son's for the night, but I mean it works.
It's
It's interesting.
yeah.
I'm gonna turn this
I
off.
uh
It's too distracting.
I was gonna say you just said snow, and
Yeah.
I haven't seen snow in probably a decade.
Really? Even with all this
Yeah.
snow recent? Well, I also am not familiar with the geographic locations in California at all or
Oh,
anything out west, really.
I'm right on the border with Mexico.
Okay, so you're like way away from where all that snow happened then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Appreciate you explaining it because my brain's like, California, all of California gets snow.
Yeah.
No.
No, I mean when I was before I moved to California, I was like the whole place is like Hollywood probably. Right? And it's not. It's like there's so much farmland out in California
Yeah.
and just like it is weird. Southern California is weird in that like when you drive from San Diego to Los Angeles,
Mm,
there's no point at which you're in the country. You're always just in the suburbs. And then the
interesting.
suburbs thicken back out into Los Angeles.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to imagine that because here in Jersey, it's like it's either super densely populated or it's like a really shitty rundown town that the government's let get awful, and then it's farmlands. And it's
Yeah.
mostly, but a lot of the farm stuff I've been seeing, they're turning into like these condo projects that are like 6, 7 stories high. And it's crazy how much of the farmland around me is getting sold up. It's like, it's starting to turn into like city shit everywhere. It's crazy.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's well, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like San Diego is just a big suburb.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have big city energy. I don't think. BCE. It's very like
The implication is there.
yeah. It's just so slow in San Diego, and I'm just I don't know. I don't even know.
You wish it were more fun like the 60s with all the crazy shit going on and the hate as Ashbury district and all that other stuff and
I mean, yeah. I wish it was like 20. I don't know. Like, I mean, I wish it was just like an anachronistic mishmash of different time periods, you know? Like, no, like civil rights movement, but also like rock music is still relevant.
yeah.
And like, well, I guess rock music was relevant after the civil rights movement, but like,
Not so much though. It really started to cuz I feel like, and I don't know if this has any sort of cultural implications of that movement reaching its point where it did, but it definitely started to become more of like less of a rock focused, and then there was a shift to like more R&B, and then an emphasis on like more jazzy type of stuff. I feel like started to come out of that as well. And
mhm,
then from there it just like we got Frank Zappa, Captain Beefheart, and then it went right into disco and then right into
mhm.
the 80s, and then there was a little bit of rock stuff in the 80s, but I feel like it never really got back to being focused just on rock. Everything's tinged with other flavors now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right in that, like, well, the only popular music that we still listen to from that era is rock music.
Yeah.
Like there was weird stuff in the like 40s and 50s that people listened to, like Hawaiian music, like
Yeah.
and I mean not saying there's anything wrong with Hawaiian music,
I
just
know
like
exactly what you mean though. It was like that stereotypical like SpongeBob kind of Hawaiian music you would hear all the time.
yeah.
What like
And
tiki bar Hawaiian music.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I don't know. Fucking something or another.
There's a lot of orchestral stuff that was popular back then. And a lot of like Broadway style stuff as well, like Frank
Mhm.
Sinatra and all that shit. It's crazy. if you really think about music as it is, like everything that we understand about music, more or less, is from the past 100 years.
Oh, totally.
And it's crazy to think about like what existed before there was recording technology and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did they have the musical scales the same way we do written down, or was everything slightly different because it was like a whole fucking different time period?
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Well, like, so the entire idea of Western music theory is basically it's all based on styles of like 19th century German composers or 18th century German composers. And like everything we frame through music theory is like comparing it to the harmonic styles of 18th century German composers, which I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard noise rock,
Yeah.
but like you can't write that the way that you would write like a Bach piece or whatever, you know.
You know,
Um
you're absolutely right about that. I never thought of it that way.
mhm.
Yeah, because
I
there's
mean,
a lot of stuff that just springs out of just like the moment.
mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then
I didn't mean to
there's
interrupt.
Eastern. Oh, it's cool. I mean, there's several like non-Western cultures where musical scales have more than 12 tones, and like Indian music, where I'm not even gonna try to do it. Like
Yeah.
like the way Bollywood, like they do that. I can't
Yeah.
even like my brain is like, nope, that's not on you. Yeah.
There's a
But
whole way that they train because I actually saw a little video where the guy was explaining like he drew out all the different parts of their vocalization like and then again I can't do it either because my brain's wired a certain way, but it was like everything that kind of sounded like it was random. When he described it and showed, it's like and then there's like and there's different ways that they like different lengths of lines represent different like pressures and dynamics with the way that they're doing it. It was super interesting, and fuck, now I gotta find that so I can send it to you so you can check it out. But it was really like I felt like if I talked to that guy or maybe paid him to teach me, I'd understand that shit better because I understood more watching this like 30-second video of this dude singing and pointing to a piece of paper than I did going to college for music stuff, you know. Like it was interesting, intriguing, and it kept my attention. And then I remembered it clearly, but not well enough to replicate.
yeah. Oh, that was weird.
What happened?
I thought I had muted myself, but did you hear me hitting my bong?
I heard something, but I wasn't sure if it was that or not.
Oh, okay. Well, if it sounded like bubbles, that's what it was.
It was just your Keeley Bubbletron.
My Keeley Bubbletron.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. I don't know what you're talking about, Lucky.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's.
uh. Sorry.
Oh,
Prop humor's not my specialty, but I insist anyway.
oh, it's all good. Prop humor is. I watched something that mentioned Gallagher recently,
Oh,
and I was
Gallagher.
like, oh my god, that guy.
We're taking it back to the smashing of the watermelons.
The smashing of and having a giant couch and
Yeah.
just climbing around and pulling stuff out of a giant couch.
It was certainly a different time. Do you think people would still be amused by that shit now, or they'd be like, "What the fuck is this guy doing, crawling around a giant fucking couch, smashing
It w-
watermelons?"
it would be like it would have to be like postmodern in some way. Like it would have to be like self-aware that
Yeah,
it was bad, you know?
it's like you reach in, you pull out a
Like,
mini Gallagher, and you're just like, "What the fuck is this trash?"
mhm. Yeah. Or like, I mean, did you ever see I mean, it was in the like early 2000s. Did you ever watch the Chappelle show?
Oh, absolutely. Who hasn't?
So, do you remember when he did Black Gallagher?
Yeah. What was it? And he shot the watermelon.
No, I don't fucking
He did though, because I think he was trying to do the smash thing, and everybody kept laughing at him. And he was like, "All right, you know what?
I
Back
do,
up,
yeah.
back up, motherfucker! Click, poof, poof, and the dude in the front row got shot, and he's just laying there
I
bleeding.
re- I distinctly remember that because they pull the plastic over them to like
Yeah.
keep them from getting. Yeah, okay, I do remember that.
Gosh, that and the
But
John Mayer episode was hilarious at the time.
play the fight riff. Play the fight riff.
Ooh, speaking of fight riff, if I can drop in with something topical, um, do you remember in the early 2000s that group that had that one song that was like super popular in roller skating rinks, that Butterfly song?
Crazy Town.
Yeah, they're in the news because their lead singer, like, I guess the main guy didn't show up for the whole show and then showed up at like the very end during the last song and then started like punching the other lead singer guy in the face and screaming, "Where's my fucking money?" And then the dude that actually showed up was like, "Bro, I showed up and did the whole fucking show. Like, where were you at?" And he's like, "I had shit to do, blah blah blah." And then he just keeps beating the shit out of him. And the guy that performed the show like started saying all this awful shit, like, "Oh, I'm gonna come to your house and kill your kids" and all this other shit. And it was like it got so wild that they got dropped off the fucking tour, and like people are like, "Yo, these guys are like all on meth." Because who the fuck would do shit like that? Like, why would you show up and be that aggressive because you didn't even play your show? And the dude who showed up and did the show for you, you beat the shit out of him? Why? I mean,
Come, my lady. Come,
yeah,
my lady.
yeah, right. All I can say, I watched the video. I think they were both wrong, especially the dude like threatening this guy's kids and shit over that. Like, and he like sucker punched the guy too. I was just gonna say, do you think that these bands run into these issues when they're like these legacy acts and like nobody's coming to the shows, so they're just like, maybe we should beat the shit out of each other and we'll be in the news and then we can do some other shows and maybe people will show up.
I don't know. I mean, it could be. I think in some cases, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think it's completely one way or the other.
Yeah.
I think honestly, because like who all has been in the news from that era? The Trapped guy.
Oh yeah, jeez.
And
I forgot about that fucking guy.
The guy that runs the Eve 6 Twitter account is hilarious.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I mean, I think they're all I think they're all dealing with the fact that they're one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
Which is not, I mean, God, I'd be fine being a one-hit wonder, you know. But then like also I've never like gotten that taste of success, you know.
Yeah.
Like made a platinum record, you know,
like
called
being
Headstrong.
Smash Mouth or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't the Smash Mouth guy, didn't he get in trouble for like saying some racist shit and throwing cocktails on some lady at a show in Vegas or something?
That's entirely possible. I think they played Trump's inauguration, so
might as well be walking on the sun.
Smash Mouth.
Jeez, you're gonna. Oh, have you? Okay, so we're going completely off the fucking rails. So Smash Mouth, ICP, Guy Fieri. Have you ever seen all three of them in the same place? Because there's a theory online that they're all the same fucking guy. Because they have the same fucking frosted tips, chunky demeanor, and like the fucking pencil thin beard line thing.
What is the guy in ICP's name? Violent J. No, that's the skinny one.
No, Violent J is the bigger one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Shaggy 2 Dope is the skinny guy.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. No, but Jay lost a lot of weight because he was. It's obvious he was doing pills for a long time, and you know.
Yeah. Well, I know he's like got some like heart problems now or something.
Yeah. He was retiring from doing live tours and shit. Like they're still doing shows. They're just not going to be aggressively touring because I think they'd been touring since they were like fucking 20 years old. Like, could you imagine that much nonstop touring?
That would be. I mean, I feel like at a point you'd get used to it.
Yeah, but
You
just
know, you
physically as you age, like doing it in their 50s and shit now, still putting
uh-huh.
on the same show with the same physicality that they did when they were in their 20s. It's got to wear on you.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Ugh. Sorry,
But
I just threw everybody through a loop there. Yeah, I think it's highly possible that they're all the same guy.
okay.
You know, that's my personal theory, especially with Jay losing weight and now Guy Fieri's losing weight, and God
Uh-oh.
God knows what's up with the Smash Mouth guy.
Who knows? I mean, I honestly can't picture what the Smash Mouth guy looks like. Like
He looks
I
like Guy Fieri with black hair.
yeah, like I could like
That's pretty
I
much
can
it.
imagine like a silhouette, but like I can't imagine what his face looks like or anything like that. Um anyway, we've
Yeah.
had one viewer on Twitch even. I
Ooh.
wonder who's watching us on Twitch.
If you're watching on Twitch, I don't know if there's a way to like say something in the chat, but please say
Yeah.
something so we can congratulate you for putting up with us.
Yeah.
Putting up with me, I should say.
Hi, Twitch viewer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoever's watching us.
All
Yeah,
right.
whoever's watching us on Twitch, thank you. We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna be Twitch streamers like Nick Nocturnal and do you know who Nick Nocturnal is?
I believe I do.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Gen YouTuber.
Yeah.
Like he's not like I think he's like 26 or something, and he doesn't say anything. I mean, he's not like shitty or anything. He
Yeah.
just like plays metal. He does a lot of videos that's like, here's how you sound like X guitar player or X band or whatever.
Like the Jared Dines stuff, just newer.
Yeah. Was he the guy that could like sing in all these different, or like did songs in all these different styles?
Yes, they did the one I remember. It was like metal musicians write a country song, and it was and then there was something where it was like metal musicians write a pop song, and it was, I don't know, it's hard to describe. I've heard a lot of things about Jared Dines, but yes, he did some of that stuff. There was the 10-second songs guy, I think Vincent, I can't remember his name. He did a lot of songs in the style of and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, there were a lot of people that hopped on that, like Stevie T and a lot of other YouTubers all started doing the same type of shit and streamlining it. But you might be thinking of Rob Scallon, because he does a lot more intensive musical stuff. Same with like Adam Neely and several others I can't remember right now. Andrew Huang, stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't even know. I just remember, what was it? This guy did like Dark Horse in the style of like 30 different artists.
Yep, that was probably the 10-second songs guy who changed his name. Let me see if I can look that up, because I keep bringing him up and I don't want to, I don't want to fuck any exposure. Let me see. Vincent.
Fucking exposure.
Well, the first result that popped up was official David Vincent from Morbid Angel, so he's getting the credit. Sorry.
Huh.
It is what it is. I'll eventually remember it, and I'll bring it up the next time, just so that I can make up for it, because I feel like a dick now. I had a message that I just got on my phone. Someone was asking what the Dragonaut is based on.
Oh, the Dragonaut.
Yeah.
LM386 amplifier chip. 2 of them in series.
Yeah.
And then like a big muff output stage and tone section. It started out, I was trying to build an Acapulco Gold clone, and I just like, those don't have any kind of control except for a volume control.
Yeah.
And so I built it and it just like squealed. And so I put like a gain control on it, and very briefly it was the Sun drive, and it was just gain and
Yeah.
volume, and then I added the tone control section. Yeah, and it became the Dragonaut.
It's interesting you say that. I thought it sounded kind of familiar. Is it like based off of the same topology, pretty much, of the Acapulco Gold, more or less, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, because
yeah.
I heard I thought that they sounded similar. I still have. I don't know what I'm saying. I had Acapulco Gold was for the longest time. I had a modified one that just had the gain knob on it, so like
Hmm.
volume and gain, and I would use that as my kind of like slight dirty boost in the beginning of any other pedal, like running an Acapulco Gold into a Rat. It blew my fucking mind. I was like,
Hmm.
holy shit, it's like I'm unlocking a whole extra bonus level in fucking Street Fighter or something like that.
Hmm.
And then run that into like a Sun Model T or a Sun Beta or Concert Lead, like you got instant doom right there. And you
Hmm.
could work with it too if you're in a higher tuning, cuz I don't like leaving everything super low. It sounds surprisingly good with that type. Basically what I'm trying to get at is that whole setup is, like, in my opinion, the Dragonaut, like, makes it so much easier to get that kind of tone just in one box.
Hmm.
So, to whoever, I think it was Homer. Yeah, it might have been Homer that messaged me and asked. I didn't really. It just messaged, click the button. But yeah. So, Homer,
Okay.
if that was you, there's your answer. Now go buy one.
Yeah, yeah. I'll build it. I'll build it with my hands,
And you'll
with
get a.
my own bare hands.
We're gonna get the get out the forge. You're gonna get the anvil. You're gonna get the hammer, and you're just gonna. Here you go, freshly forged from the
Mhm.
fires of San Fran, California.
The chips are made out of folded steel,
Yeah.
cooled in the blood of a dragon.
Hence the name.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking
Like,
cool.
but
I just
no, it,
pictured I just pictured you doing that, and I'm like, that's like some fucking Conan shit right there.
uh-huh. No, like so everybody thinks like the thing is I name my pedals just sort of randomly. I don't really have like a rule, a naming convention or anything like that. I just come up with names and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds cool."
Yeah.
You know, or I'm like, "That sounds stupid," or I'm like, "Okay, that'll work," until I come up with a better name. And Dragonaut, everyone thinks the Dragonaut is supposed to be Matt Pike's tone in a box,
Yeah.
and it's not. I was just listening to Sleep a Lot when I designed that pedal.
It's a good name.
Yeah, I mean, it still does the Doom thing, but it's not
Absolutely.
Matt Pike's tone,
It's
you
funny you
know?
mentioned that. I've actually seen some demos where people are playing it and they're like, if you want that Doom tone, just get the Dragonaut.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really heavy. It's got something happening in the low end that just gives it a fullness and a heaviness that like I haven't really heard in many other gain pedals. Uh but that's just me tooting my own horn on my about my my fucking pedals.
Listen,
Uh
that's what it's about tonight.
oh yeah.
You know.
Well, that's ultimately what it's about by my pedals. I mean, you know, if you look at the screen, it's got the Demonic Machines logo, and then it says support Demonic Machines on Patreon. And then it's got like you can find Demonic Machines pedals and amps at demonicmachines.com.
It's
I
true. You
mean,
can. You can
you can
though.
you absolutely can.
All of these things are valid, and I just don't understand why people don't want to do it more. Frankly, if I had the money, I'd donate myself.
I mean, I think everybody is poor these days.
Agreed.
Yeah, like just
Yeah.
everybody. I don't even know what I'm gonna like. I don't even know what to do because I'm like so poor in California, and I'm like, how the hell do I leave California?
Yeah, that's.
Um,
We need to set up a GoFundMe for Lucky to get out of California and come live in New Jersey. It
I tried New Jersey. I've driven through New Jersey. Well, I didn't drive. My dad
yeah,
drove, but
understood.
yeah.
New Jersey's a lot more than the turnpike and all the roads. That's the thing. Because a
Hmm.
lot of people, what part of Jersey did you drive through? North Jersey, Central, or
I don't remember.
it was
I
somewhere.
I just remember like we were going to see my cousin graduate from West Point,
Yeah.
up in New York, and we drove up. We came through Pennsylvania, and then we hit New Jersey from Pennsylvania, and drove up through New Jersey. So I mean, I think we went like the whole length of New Jersey,
Yeah, because
maybe.
it depends. Because there's a couple spots where Pennsylvania and New Jersey kind of meet up with those highways and major roads and shit.
Okay.
It could have been it could have been a little further north, probably closer to like Trenton and stuff. Probably around that area because I know that there's a spot that directly connects and goes right into the main highway and shit like that. So yeah, I mean, it was probably closer to North Jersey because South Jersey is a lot of woods and
Mhm.
trees and farms and shit like that. And but yeah, I mean, I think personally, I mean, I would love to be able to actually work together in the same studio at some point. But I
Uh-huh.
also think that New Jersey is a better choice than California financially, and just because of like we're close to Philadelphia, we're close to New York, we're close to Delaware and Baltimore, and you know what I mean. There's just a lot more around in terms of distribution centers for mailing stuff, and a lot more
Mhm.
places for shows if that's ever
Yeah.
something. You know what I mean? That's all I'm thinking. It's you could get a basement show in like a week if you just ask the right people in New Jersey. You know what I mean? Or a
Uh-huh.
house show or something.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just tooting New Jersey's horn, even though we all hate New Jersey.
I mean,
So
it's I mean honestly, like I wish California without any warning would spark and start burning tonight. Tonight. I wish California would fall in the ocean and everyone would die.
it might
No,
happen sooner than
that's
you think.
that's the lyrics to California by the classic Gilman Street punk band Blats. Um,
I agree,
yeah,
though.
yeah,
Well, with the exception of you and several other people that would probably benefit from not burning to death or drowning instantly.
uh huh.
you
I
know.
mean, it's so expensive, and they're like people are always like, oh, it's so well, I guess it is liberal, but like people act like California is almost socialist, and it's not. It's like capitalist as they come, you
Oh, I'm
know?
sure.
Like there's like I mean, you get healthcare, you can get healthcare from the state. I guess there's that, but like it's so freaking expensive to live here. Um and I just bought a bike though. I don't
Yeah.
know what that's gonna do for me, but I just bought a bike.
Good to have, just in
Bikes have
case.
pedals.
Yeah. Just like
Yeah,
Lucky has pedals available for purchase at demonicmachines.com.
that's true. And you know, my bike, it's gonna have big muffs on it. It's gonna have two big muffs.
You know what? Depending. Okay. So don't quote me on it. I'm going to see if I can find. Do you want the classic huge box Big Muffs or like one of the reissue boxes? Because we could make that
Big
happen.
big box, big
We got to.
box.
This is going to be an expensive set of pedals, but I'll tell you what, that bike will shred and.
It would
Oh.
probably. I'm sure you could sell it on like. I'm sure someone would buy it.
Oh, yeah. Josh Scott would buy it and he'd keep it in the studio.
Like I don't even should. Oh, I almost. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, my signal cut out for a second.
Did you hear my
I
Josh Scott comment?
yeah.
Okay, I didn't get the reaction to that, so I was like, "Oh fuck, did that one not land?"
Oh no, it was fine. I was just gonna say I meant to start drafting the email to send him to actually have him on the show. Um, which I mean, crazier things have happened,
Absolutely.
you know. So that's sort of where I'm at with it. Is like crazy have happened, and so maybe he will like. He even messaged me and was
Yeah,
like,
which is
"Hey,
interesting, right?
yeah." Like, I mean, he knows about my pedals for sure.
Oh, the
Like, he
corn
definitely.
puffer.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, that's right. He did it on the show. I forget about that.
Yeah.
Like, people the part people don't see is that I annoy him on Instagram Messenger a lot.
Annoy
But
is not the right term. I think it's
y-
admire and share your thoughts. It's a lot
yeah,
nicer than annoy.
yeah, and I don't. I mean, like, I make sure I have like an excuse. You know,
Oh yeah.
like the last time I messaged him prior to that was when I was on the JHS show, and I was just like, "Hey, thanks for showing my pedals," and he was like, "Yeah, they're really good," and I was like, "Thanks,"
Yeah. I mean
but
that's all you can ask for from Josh.
yeah, I know, right? And there's a big controversy today,
Ooh. What's
because
up?
pedal of the day, this Instagram slash YouTube.
Yeah, I'm
So
familiar.
yeah, they're Bun Runner, which according to what I hear from people, and I've never been able to 100% verify,
Yeah.
it's that it's a ripoff of Devi Evers' Hyperion. But the thing,
Yeah, I actually heard that several years ago. Yeah,
mhm,
yeah, no, I remember. Well, there was a lot more that went into that discussion that I don't really care to discuss right now, but it also involved Josh's stuff. But yeah, I definitely remember somebody saying that I guess it was some of Josh's earlier stuff was more or less the accusation or the implication was that Josh takes other people's circuits, modifies them, and then puts them out as completely original.
uh-huh,
But I mean,
that's what every pedal builder does.
exactly. And I guess the ethical dilemma that my friend was getting at was like, well, how can you support that person if they're not going to give credit to the people who they built off of their circuit? You know, like at the very
Mhm,
least, you can say inspired by or based off of or something. I guess was what they were getting at, but. I'm not a builder. I don't know how the ethics of that works. Like you said, almost everybody does that. So
mhm.
what would your
I,
thoughts be on that accusation?
I think of it like food.
Yeah.
Like an overdrive is like a hamburger, and like, or a fuzz pedal is like a hamburger,
Yeah.
and like there can be 50 restaurants in a town that all have, but their hamburgers all going to be different.
Yeah.
And some of them might be kind of similar to each other, some of them might have gotten ideas from each other. Like, for instance, there's a food truck by my apartment that has like Impossible Burger or Beyond Burgers, the
Okay.
vegan meat stuff.
Yeah.
And it's basically an In and Out burger.
Oh,
They have
okay.
like the In and Out sauce and all of that stuff. And but I mean, my point is it's like no one's doing. First of all, I don't believe in like. I think that copyright law is just profoundly messed up, and we shouldn't have to worry about it. But that's just me being idealistic. But in general, like, I think of pedals, there's like the basic recipe, and then there's like your twist you put on it,
Yeah.
which can be as much as like completely changing the topology of the buffers in a tube screamer.
Yeah.
or like, or it can be like just putting a different value capacitor in the feedback loop of like a soft clipping overdrive. It's just it like different things like that can change the character of the sound, and make it a different pedal. And I think for someone like, so if it was like, if Josh Scott had opened up a Devi Ever Hyperion, taken the circuit board out, put it
Yeah.
in a different box that said JHS Bun Runner, and then sold it as his, I
Yeah.
would see a problem with that. If he, I mean, but that's how everyone learns, is by copying circuits.
Yeah.
And the way to support yourself and sustain yourself while you're learning is to sell the stuff that you build. And I mean, I'm sure Josh Scott at no point ever meant to undercut Devi Ever
Oh yeah.
with the Bun Runner. And that's probably part of the reason that he wasn't like, oh, this is a Devi Ever Bun Runner.
I've actually never seen it, so I'm looking it up right now. It was one of the earlier ones, correct? Like one of his earlier pedals?
Yeah, it's discontinued now, but it had the stamp on it. And
Oh, okay. I see it now. Yeah, I can definitely understand cuz the one right here, just the volume fuzz, cuz I had a clone of a Hyperion 2 from Devi Ever that somebody built and sent me. I sent that to Sam from Rift Mountain. But yeah, there's only 2 controls, but there's also several other fuzzes that have a similar tone and spittiness and everything like that are also 2 knobs. So unless they have direct proof that Josh traced the circuit and put it out and whatnot, then it could be one of many different pedals and they're just assuming.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, no, that's it could be so many, it's so many different like pedals
Yeah.
possibly, you know. Like I'm actually trying to find a schematic of it right now to see if I can like point out what it is.
I
It
mean, it is,
looks,
to be fair, it is a really good fuzz. And I think the only
yeah.
difference that the Hyperion 2 offered is it had the oscillation knob.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Yep.
can find the schematic for that one might be easier to find, but they're both essentially the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had built myself one a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems pretty
Excuse me.
well. If I mean again, if it's only if this schematic is correct. If this
Yeah.
schematic is correct, then it's a pretty obvious design, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, um, it's not. I don't think it's, or it could be a fuzz face, according to this one.
Really? I can see
Yeah.
that. I mean, wow, I didn't think about it, but yeah, I think it might be one of those cases where you mentioned somebody just changing some of the values on something because
Mm-hmm.
it sounded it operates similarly to a fuzz face where you can adjust the gain or the fuzz knob, and depending on if your guitar's volume knobs are all the way up or dialed back, it gives you different tones. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but that's like any fuzz or overdrive. But yeah, I mean, it sounds a lot beefier than a fuzz face. It's not as like I think fuzz faces like kind of sound brittle in the high
Mm-hmm.
end, but this definitely it has a beefier octave like undertone that evens out the bitiness of the mid range, and it overtones really easily when you like play something at like almost full gain. It's hard to describe. That's how somebody told me because I sent it to someone to take a look at, and they were like, "Yo, I don't know what the fuck this thing is, but that's how they described it to me." And they're like, "This is like the most awesome fucking pedal in the world." So then when I found out what it was, I made sure to let people know because good pedal's a good
Mm-hmm.
pedal. Don't matter what it is. If it sounds good, it sounds good.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, so we are out of time for the night. Deuce, do you have anything you want to say?
If anybody is interested in being a guest or possibly has any suggestions for guests, you can DM me on Instagram at deuce.binary. You could reach out to Lucky at Demonic Machines. I'm sure you could use the contact form on Lucky's website as well. If if you have any ideas or suggestions for stuff you want to hear us talk about, things you want us to cover, any news, whether it's old rock bands coming back and beating the shit out of each other like we talked about, or if it's like a new pedal, or if there's some sort of controversy that you want us to give our 2 cents on, anything, you're just as much a part of the show as we are. We're just the ones behind the camera, and y'all are the interactive part on the opposite side. So we appreciate you being here. It might not seem like there's a whole bunch of you here, but regardless, each and every one of you matter to us, and we appreciate that. So please continue to support us. Consider joining our Patreon. And as always, you could buy a pedal at demonicmachines.com. And if there's anything else that you're interested in, my friends that are watching, like I said, feel free to hit any of us up, give us some suggestions, and we'll see what we can come up with for you.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add to that. Like Deuce said, check out our Patreon, check out demonicmachines.com. Patreon only has one tier. It's $10 a month. That's like a shot of espresso every month for us. So your support would be greatly appreciated. And that being said, we are out of here.